Peace, love, and blessings, fam. Johnny Sally here with day number 60 of Wisdom of the Ages by Wayne W. Dyer. This is the last and final day of the reading of this particular book. If you would like to catch any of the 59 previous days, you can catch them on YouTube at Loyalty Life, spelled L-Y-F-E, Legacy LLC. And you can go ahead and check them out on TikTok as well. Now, I hadn't fully settled on what I was going to read next. Most likely the Four Agreements, because it is a series. But we're also going to see, because I was thinking about enlightening you all on some things that I learned while in psychology and in my major of child and family development. For those who do not know, I do have a bachelor's from TSU in Human Services and Consumer Sciences with a focus in child and family development. And me and a friend were discussing earlier cognitive distortions that would cause a large majority of the population to be labeled as having what bipolar BPD, bipolar personality disorder. I had a brain fart right then. That was wild. And because these are straight, direct, raw videos, I don't do any editing. I just go with the flow of things. So a lot of people could be diagnosed with bipolar personality disorder. And a lot of these things are just ways of life and communication and interpersonal reflection on the self and how they respond emotionally. And the reality, in fact, is, like I was discussing with a friend earlier, most people just haven't been taught these things. Some people operate in a way that they feel is okay, that could literally be a disruption to not only their own life, but other people's lives. And it's literally they are ignorant. No slug, no shot. The word ignorant means to not know. They literally do not know that they are going through these things. So I'm going to ponder and puzzle on what I'm going to do next, but it's going to be one of the two, either the Four Agreements and the set, probably with these things sprinkled in there, or I may just go into that series. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. But without further ado, day number 60, Awe. Brisbane by Wayne W. Dyer. Brisbane, where God was revealed to us. Only the two of us know the magic and awe of that presence. Against impossible odds, our connection to eternity further reinforced, strengthened. Yet the paradox always lingers. We are in control. We are not in control. Doomed to make choices. All I'm certain of is our love embedded in forever. An infinite soul, disguised as a husband, father of 8, writer and lecturer, Wayne W. Dyer is the author of this and 16 other books, including 3 textbooks. Rest in power, Mr. Dyer, Dr. Dyer. This book is not about appreciating poetry and philosophy as much as it is about applying the wisdom of these writers to our everyday lives. All the selections of this book convey messages from sensitive, highly creative, and productive individuals who were alive here on planet Earth at one time, just as you and I are today. I feel a bit presumptuous including a selection of my very own in this assemblage of splendor from so many supreme poets, artists, and philosophers of the past. But I have chosen to welcome my discomfort and self-consciousness because I want to include Brisbane in this book, which has been an enlightening labor of love for me as an example of a piece of poetic writing that is from the heart of a regular, everyday guy, written to his wife in a moment of pure awe and inspiration. And also because I want you to know the story behind the poetic effort from someone who is still here to share his reasons for writing it. So I conclude this compilation with a poem I wrote for my wife, Marceline, and hope that you too will take pen in hand and toss aside fear of embarrassment, ridicule, or unfair comparisons to the great poets, and express your innermost feelings to those you love. This selection is titled Brisbane because that is the city in northern Australia where, back in 1989, I felt and knew absolutely beyond a doubt that there was a force at work in the universe that I call God, or as I call, the divine creator of all things. It was my introduction to knowing the divine creator of all things, whereas until that day, I had only known about the divine creator and God. There's a difference in knowing something or someone or something and knowing about something, someone, or something. My wife Marceline and two of our children, who were 1.5 and 3.5 at the time, were with me on a speaking tour of Australia in February of 1989. I spoke to a large gathering of people during the day, and we returned exhausted to our hotel in Brisbane and retired for the evening. I had one of the children in my bed, while Marceline slept and nursed the baby in the adjoining bed. At 4:05 a.m., something that had never happened before or since occurred to startle me beyond anything I could describe here. My wife awakened from a deep sleep and began to rearrange the room. She took our 3.5-year-old out of my bed and put her with our little 1.5-year-old boy. She proceeded to get into my bed and snuggle up next to me. This was uncharacteristic of Marceline, particularly because she was nursing our son full time. I was in a semi-conscious state of shock, thinking I was having a dream. My wife had been either nursing or pregnant for the previous 8 years, and consecutively had completely halted her menstrual cycle. Furthermore, she had been assured that she would not get pregnant again because of a surgical procedure in which one ovary had been removed. But to be certain, we practiced birth control, and I withdrew at the critical moment to put an exclamation point on our precaution. Yet, despite all this, at 4:05 a.m. in Brisbane, Australia, our youngest daughter, Saye Ikis Dyer, was conceived and was brought into our world on November 16, 1989. What awoke my wife in that instant? What caused this strange behavior by a woman who is always in control to appear to be almost obsessed? What force was operating that night? Who was in charge here? Saye, or Saje, S-A-J-E, has been a uniting force of love in our marriage. Yet, when I discovered that my wife was pregnant, from the wonderfully bizarre middle-of-the-night obsession, I knew, as did Marceline, that there were forces working to bring that little angel into the material world through us that went way beyond our decision to not have any more children. Surgery, birth control, withdrawal, and absence of a female cycle with which to keep track of ovulation and being sound asleep in a foreign land are all insignificant minor obstacles to a life force that strives to manifest into our material world. On Mother's Day 1989, I wrote the Brisbane poem for my wife and put it in a framed collage of our Australia trip. But no matter how many words I write and how desperately I attempt to convey the specialness of that experience as I wrote, only the two of us know the magic and awe of that presence. From that time until now, I have never experienced one moment of doubt about the presence of the divine creator of all in my life. I do not engage in long arguments with disbelievers, nor do I feel any particular need to convince anyone of what I know. I simply express it in my writing, in my lectures, and yes, in my own little poetic expression written to and for my wife. I go back to that moment and my connection to that divine awakening. All-pervasive, omnipresent force is reinforced and strengthened. I also know through this experience that every soul which manifests into a human being is also a part of this divine drama. We like to think that we are the ones in charge of such matters, yet a big part of me knows that nothing can stop a determined soul, and the paradox of the statement, doomed to make choices, is evident at all times. That is, we are in control and we are not in control, all at the same time. And learning to live with this enigma is a big part of what knowing the divine creator of all is all about. You arrive here through a similar miraculous scenario. Your heart started beating inside your mother's womb a few weeks after conception, and it is a total mystery to everyone on our planet. How does something come from no thing? Where was that life before conception? What happens in the instant of creation? We are all walking, breathing, talking paradoxes, and perhaps we do best to let go of the intellectual struggle and accept with a loving heart while being certain of our love embedded in forever. By all means, hang on to the awe and appreciate every moment of life and every molecule of creation. But somewhere deep down inside you, in a tiny corner of your awareness, know for certain that there is one divine presence at work in you and in the entire universe as well, and that it never makes a mistake. Despite what you may have come to believe over the years, this is an intelligent system that we are all a part of, and we make our entrances and exits precisely on time. This last selection is my message to you, as well as my tribute to that all-revealing moment back in early 1989. Be certain of one thing, as it is expressed in A Course of Miracles, and as I have attempted to convey to you here in this final chapter. It is the one and only suggestion I personally want to offer you and leave with you as you close this book. If you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. Namaste. I honor the place in you where we are all one. To know the divine creator of all is to know that no mistakes were made in your existence. Want to understand why? If you have children, do you try to control every aspect of your child's life? Some might say yes, depending on how old the child is. Some might unconsciously not realize they do so and, in a sense, hinder their child's autonomy, my bad. Hinder their child's autonomy. And what takes place is you begin to enmesh yourself into your child and you control your child's life to where they don't know how to make their own decisions. So the divine creator of all being this all-knowing, all-pervasive thing that we could never fully, truly understand. Because if you think how grand the universe is from what we know, how do we begin to know something that created that and we don't know what's all in the universe? It's pretty arrogant of the human ego. But in getting back to understanding that you don't try to control your child's life, why would the divine creator of all try to control anything that goes on in your life? So that means everything is perfect in the way it should be because you have the free will to make your own choices and decisions. Even coming here into this reality was a choice you made spiritually. All of the negative things that you experience, all of the ways you interact with a person are a part of that choice that you made. And even sometimes going against what you may feel you should do and listening to that space in your heart and your higher self or your divine beings can be difficult and tricky sometimes. But they're there to guide you because they know the choices that we made. And even though we made a choice or a contract, we still have choices to make within that contract, which could completely shift where and how you move in life. So just know, the awe and beauty of existing is in the awe and beauty of existing. You always have the choice to make whatever decision you want, and trust and believe that no decision is still a decision. The inability to act is still an action within itself. And therein lies the paradox of life. We are in control, yet we are not in control. Because whether you make a choice or not, there are factors that will cause things to play out in ways that you may not want to believe, but it happens. So be cautious of how you move. Be cautious of the choices and decisions you make. And do your best to always make the best decision in context to everyone around, even if others don't understand the choice and decision you are making, because you are moving in the highest state of your purpose. And not everybody's purpose is the same. I want to thank you again for being here with me, more so for yourself than for anything. I ask that you walk in love, walk in light, walk in peace, and know that you are loved.